Ladies and gentlemen, the workshop Security and Management of Internet Content from Overseas will begin shortly. Please turn off your cell phone and any sound-producing device. Thanks for your cooperation. Before we start our first session, we would like you to wait a minute to do group photo for all speakers and moderators. Please, all speakers and moderators go into the stage and take a photo. And our photographer, Mr. Yang, will take a photo of you. Three, two, one, cheese. Okay, thanks. Please take the seat.
Okay, time to start. Okay, greetings to everyone. My name is Katherine Chen. I'm a Commissioner of National Communications Commission, Taiwan. It is my privilege here to moderate this session for the Asia Pacific Regional Internet Governance Forum with NII. Thank you. The title of this workshop is Security and Management of Internet Content from Overseas. So why are relevant to this topic? When we consider the increasingly well-established infrastructure across the Asia-Pacific region, the ubiquity of connected devices and tendency for technologies in the digital age to converge, it becomes clear the issue of internet governance is too important to ignore. And as economies strive to ensure a diverse and fair online environment, challenges rise up to meet us, one of which can be clearly seen in the title of this workshop, which is Security and Management of Internet Content from Overseas. We are fortunate to have 5 speakers who are experts in this area here to share their viewpoints on this topic. We have planned 3 sub-agendas, each lasting 20 minutes. After all speakers finish their presentations, a discussion to each sub-agenda will continue. Each discussion will last 9 minutes with Q&A from the audience. Firstly, I'm sure you agree that we were keen to gain insight from social media companies and learn what steps they take when facing this issue. So it's our great pleasure to be joined by representatives from Line and Facebook. The first speaker is Mr. Takeshi Nakayama. Mr. Nakayama is an executive officer at Line Corporation in charge of security, legal affairs, and compliance. He's also the chief privacy and information security officer of the company. His talk is entitled Cybercrime on Messenger App. Okay, the second speaker is Mr. David Caragliano of Facebook. Mr. Caragliano takes the position of Product Policy Manager in Menlo Park, California. His team plans out global community standards to Facebook, which sets forth what content can or cannot be shared on the site. He's going to present the topic entitled Facebook Community Standards. During the second sub-agenda, we'll focus on the opportunities and the dilemmas every country encounters while maintaining a fair and healthy internet environment. So it's a great privilege to be joined by Korean Communication Standards Commission, KCSC, and APAC Taiwan to share their viewpoints. The first speaker for the second sub-agenda is Dr. Hyung-Sung Lee. Dr. Hyung-Sung Lee is a senior research fellow of the Korean Communication Standards Commission. She worked as an associate editor for the Federal Communications Law Journal and a senior researcher of the Korean University Research Institute for Information and Culture. Her talk is entitled Enhancing Cooperation Systems with Internet Service Providers to Better Confront Illegal and Harmful Online Content from Overseas. The second speaker is Dr. Bernard Gao. Dr. Gao is board member of APIGF Taiwan and was responsible for founding the hotline 1999. Since then, he has dedicated significant efforts to child protection projects, working towards combating child sexual exploitation, child sexual abuse content, and human trafficking. He was also elected to the position of board member without portfolio of InHope in 2006. The topic that he's going to deliver is entitled International Efforts on Combating Online Sexual Exploitation of Children. And last but not least, we NCC will take this precious opportunity to share our views with the public. So our Commissioner-designate, Jason Ho, will give a presentation entitled The Governance of Children Online Safety from Taiwan's Perspective. Dr. Ho has been at the NCC since its establishment 10 years ago. During this time, he has served as the Director of Broadcasting Content Department and Director of Legal Affairs Department. He's deeply committed to respecting freedom of speech, and he was responsible for establishing a mechanism of co-regulation in electronic media and the internet regulation issues. So I believe he is well qualified to illustrate the perspective of the Commission concerning internet governance. Now, let's please welcome our first speaker, Mr. Takeshi Takayama.
For this brief session, we will talk about lying, then talk about cybercrime lying and our solutions. We will focus on three major issues of lying, and then we also touch upon security and safety of lying, and we will wrap it up. Now about lying. How many of you guys know lying or use lying? Oh, great number. Oh, thank you. Thank you for using. So lying, those who don't know, is a global mobile platform for communication services. Our messenger app, Line, is the foundation of a platform. Our app operates on all major mobile operating systems. With the app, our users can communicate through free instant messaging and also voice and video calls. Since the introduction of Line Messenger in Japan in June 2011, Line has grown into a global platform with users in more than 230 countries, with a very strong user base in Asia. Our active user base per month has grown to 218 million MAUs globally in March 2016, with 152 million MAUs in four of our largest markets, which is Japan, Taiwan, Thai, and Indonesia. In Japan, we have about 58 million users. So we provide users with a wide range of social and interactive content and services, such as mobile games, music, payment services, job posting, restaurant reservation, taxi booking services, and so on. Line Messenger app serves as a smart portal to these applications and services. with a large global user base, Line can have big impacts on society. With the magnitude of the exposure, Line has become a common target of cybercrime. There are various forms of cybercrime targeting Line, including identity theft, service exploitation, social engineering, phishing, APT, DDoS attack, ransomware, malware, unauthorized access. Among these crimes, today we are focusing on the crime unique to Line in Japan. In particular, we will discuss 3 topics: account theft, Line account theft, game cheat, spam. Now, game cheats. This typically involves an abuser trying to modify a game application in order to make the game easier and to get certain advantages. In one of the typical adventure genre game, for instance, as a player, your goal would be, say, to save your princess from the bad guys who capture her. You'll be ranked among your friends and family based on the number of game points you win. Not quite sure how many of you guys played any Line games. No one? You. Thank you. So now, a special feature about Line game is that you can see your ranking among all your friends on your list. So you see, you're competing against your families and friends, and you can see it, how high up you are. So you need to clear multiple difficult stages to save your princess. You have to fight and defeat the bad guys before you can proceed to the next stages. As you clear several stages, the game becomes more and more difficult. If you defeat the enemies, you'll be rewarded with bonus points. With the required number of points, you can purchase certain items that will make your character strong, give your character some useful tools and weapons to fight against the bad guys. In a typical game, you normally need time and effort to make progress. However, normally you're so busy that you don't have the time. So what do? Instead of spending time, you might buy time. How? By paying money to make your character stronger, or to buy extra weapons to fight against the bad guys, so that you can clear the difficult stages and get lots of bonus points and without spending lots of time. Now, to clear the difficult stages, what would the abuser do? He may change the game illegally to slow down the movement of the enemy to show that it is easy to defeat, thereby clearing the required stages and obtain lots of points with no difficulty, with little time. Very unfair. Or he may simply manipulate the game to get a large number of points. In this way, he could rank higher, illegally, unfairly, compared to other honest users. Further, with the many points that he cheated to obtain, he may buy some rare item, and he can actually resell the item for users for money. He will also offer to play the game for some users for fee to perform the cheats on the account of the user. This is how the abuser illegally make money. To prevent these cheats, Line added a cheat detection platform. What this means is that we have implanted a detection program within the game itself that alerts us when something out of the ordinary happens. For example, it notifies when there is change in the bonus point parameters, or some users suddenly get so many points within a very short period of time. That's so weird. So we're going to have to look into that. Once we detected the cheat, we will stop the abuser, freeze his account, minimize the harm done, take back what's been taken by the abuser, and ban the abuser from the service. With the introduction of the cheat detection platform, Line successfully reduced the cheats by 85% during the past 2 years. Despite this success, we are aware that abusers are always coming up with new tricks and new ways to cheat. So we strive to be up to date on new technologies and improve our cheat detection program. Okay, let's go to account theft. So this is how this is 85% deductions. So account theft. So this also been a major issue primarily in Japan. This can happen through your email account and also Line account. The motivation behind account theft on SNS can range from simple prank to more serious attacks aimed at shamming or hurting someone's social networks. In SNS account theft, abuser normally uses the following steps. First steps, he buys lists of IDs and passwords from illegal websites. Second step, then he tried to log in the target SNS account by using the illegally obtained information. If he is successful, he can hijack the account and have full control over the account. He may proceed to contact the friends and family of the true account holder. He may fraudulently ask them for money or buy some gift card, and they may actually give money to the abuser, not knowing that the account has been hijacked. Once the abuser gets money, he will log out and sometimes delete the account altogether. Line faces account theft issues with a similar methodology. In Japan, the scale of the account theft issue at Line was so large in 2014 and 15 that it became a social problem. Line has introduced several effective measures against the account theft problems. For the past 2 years, these include PIN code authentication, which is set by the Line users themselves in addition to their normal passwords. OPT authentication via SMS. These two-factor authentication are required in addition to email and password in case of account migration. When users change their handsets, we also have block mechanism in the case of suspicious behavior. So with the measures just explained, we are able to effectively authenticate our user identity through these efforts. In Japan, we have successfully reduced the number of account theft incidents to close to 0, as the graph shows. Next, spam. So we have a Wikipedia definition here. Electronic spamming is the use of electronic messaging systems to send unsolicited messages, especially advertising, as well as sending messages repeatedly on the same site. Advertisers generally use it because virtually there is no cost other than the cost of managing mailing list. Spam is simply annoying, but it can be more serious. It can be used to collect sensitive information from users, induce users to website to buy expensive goods and services, or otherwise defraud users. Line spam is similar to email spam. Other than using measures like block rules, we have brought in the latest technology in machine learning, where we increase the precision in detecting the behavior of spammers who can circumvent the block rules. With that, we have been very successful in significantly reducing spam. However, spammers will continuously attempt to find new ways to defraud users. We at Line are always incorporating new technologies to fight the spammers. Okay, so that's the 3 major issues. Then we move to security and safety at Line. Here, our mission, company mission, closing the distance. closing the distance to bring people service information closer together. That is, we handle security issues concerning communication taking place between closer friends and family. That means that involve most important private information. This requires the highest level of security practice. Our security strategy includes E2EE bug bounty true delete. In addition to ISMS certificate, ISO 27001, we are the first to obtain both SOC 2 and 3. They certify that our user information is protected against any third party's illegal access. They certify safety of not just the messenger itself, but also that of operation and management. Okay. Lastly, safety, protecting children's safety. Okay. To protect children's safety, outlined in Japan, we provide the age verification system. That what it is that users cannot search and find the underage users' IDs. We also provide over 1,000 school workshops a day nationwide. We send our specialists nationwide to educate school kids, parents, and teachers on the correct use of line and the internet morale and literacy. Okay, so that's it. To wrap up, if I have time, I just wanted to emphasize that we take our responsibilities to protect our users very seriously. We know that in spite of our recent successes, we can never guarantee that no abuses will occur. For that reason, we will continue our strongest efforts to protect our users in the modern internet landscape. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Nakayama from Line. Okay, our second speaker is David from Facebook.
David Caroliano. I work on the product policy team at Facebook, where I focus on content policy. First, I just want to thank everybody for being here today. Can everybody hear me all right? Awesome. I want to thank you all for being here today. 我也要感谢台湾政府邀请我过来参加这个会. Thank you. So, as I said, I focus on our content policy. And this is an area that we take really seriously. Can I see a show of hands? Who in the audience has been on Facebook today? Okay. Thank you. Has anybody here ever had the bad experience of seeing something in their news feed that was disturbing or offensive? Thanks for letting me know, and this is something that I think a lot about. This is exactly what my team focuses on. We're thinking about what sort of content do we allow on Facebook, and what do we not allow. And so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to talk about the team that makes those rules, my team, how we go about developing those rules, and what you all can do when you see something like that in your newsfeed. But first I want to take a step back, and I want to talk about Facebook and talk about the scale at which we operate, because it really informs how we think about policy. So we were founded in 2004. We're a relatively new company. And our mission is to give people the power to share and to make the world more open and connected. We provide tools and a platform. You create the content. So every day, billions of things are shared on Facebook. We recently passed a huge milestone for us. We had more than 1 billion people daily use our product. That translates to 1.65 billion people monthly. This is an inordinate, this is a tremendous amount of content. We're talking about more than 1 billion photos daily uploaded to Facebook. And 630 billion photos uploaded since 2005. It's also worth noting that more than 84% of the people that use our platform are coming from outside the United States and Canada. So we really need to take a global approach to when we're thinking about our policies. So let's dive into that. Let's talk about who makes these policies, how those policies are developed, and why we need policies in the first place. Who are we? Who is this team? This team that I'm a part of that makes these rules about what's allowed and what's not allowed on Facebook. Well, we're a global team. We're in 6 offices around the world. We're in Europe, we're in North America, and we're here in Asia. We have diverse backgrounds on my team. Some of us are coming from law enforcement. We were state prosecutors. Others of us were human rights lawyers or worked for NGOs that were advocating for human rights. And of course, there are members of my team that are from the internet industry. I actually want to step back for a minute. Why do we need policies? Does anybody have any thoughts on this, on why we need policies? Why, what Facebook or what any of these platforms would be like if there were no rules? What's most important to us here? Does anyone have any thoughts? Yeah. Not irrelevant, yes. But I would say, in order to retain customers, people need to feel safe. That's really the core of it all, right? If we want to make the world open and connected, if we want people to share, people will not share if they don't feel safe. So that comes first. It's also important to us to foster civility and responsible behavior. And we want to promote free expression and sharing. But again, in order for that to happen, people need to feel safe. We have one set of policies for the world. They're called the community standards. It can be a challenge for a community as large and diverse as ours to have one set of standards. I'll give you a really straightforward example, the example of nudity. So when we go to places like Brazil or the Nordic countries in Europe, they actually tell us that our nudity policies are too restrictive. That's what they say. When we go to other parts of the world, what we hear is our nudity policies are not restrictive enough. And so my team is in an enviable place of having to decide where we draw the line. Our policies govern everything that we believe has the potential to endanger the safety of the people who use our platform. That could range from something like self-harm, to hate speech, to cyberbullying, to graphic violence. And when we're thinking about these policies, we don't just talk amongst ourselves in Menlo Park, California, and say, oh, that sounds pretty good. Why don't we do that? Now, we talk to a number of key stakeholders, both internally within Facebook, but also externally around the world, as we very methodically think through what the right approach is. Within Facebook, we talk to legal experts. We talk to security experts. We talk to people like George Chen here in the audience on our public policy team, who's in Hong Kong for leading up the Greater China region, to get insights about the political and social context in the markets in which we operate. That is absolutely critical. Outside of Facebook, we talk to academics. We look at empirical research. Obviously, we're a tech company. We have a lot of data. We love to look at data and think about data. We talk to nonprofits. We talk to law enforcement. We talk to government regulators and lawmakers, and we talk to human rights activists. But even after all these consultations have taken place, when we are considering a policy, it all comes back to three principles. First, is that policy principled? Is it fair? Are we providing the same treatment for everybody globally on our platform? Second, is it operable? It's really important that our standards are objective. As I said, there are billions of photos, billions of pieces of content shared every day on Facebook. We have people that are reviewing that content all over the world. Doesn't matter where you are, we need our people to make the same calculation in one part of the world as they would in the other. And for that sort of thing to happen, our standards need to be objective. Finally, are our policies explicable? Can we stand up and defend them? Are they easy to understand? So, most of the content we see on Facebook is good content. Most of the time, people want to share what they had for dinner, at the night market, this great snack that they had, or that they had a new child, a new baby, right? But some content has no place on our site because it's inherently harmful. I want to give an example of that. Something that we've heard too much about lately, violent extremism. So certain violent organizations are not allowed to have a presence on Facebook. That means the organization can't have a page, and if you're a member of that organization, you can't have an account on Facebook. It doesn't matter if you use that account for talking about the weather, talking about what's on TV, talking about what you had for dinner. It doesn't matter. If you're a member of that organization, you cannot be part of our community. No one can support, praise, or promote these organizations or their acts on our platform. That's not allowed. If that post is reported to us, we will remove it and there will be consequences for that person. And finally, you can't celebrate or promote terrorist acts of violence. So I want to run through really quickly the tools that we have that's at your disposal for reporting content so that you can get some of this bad stuff off our platform. Every piece of content on Facebook can be reported. Reporting is 100% confidential. Every piece of content, you'll see there will be a little caret. Let's see. See this? On every single piece of content, and you'll have the option to say, I don't want to see this, you can unfollow this person. Ultimately, we want to put you in control about what you're seeing and what your experience is like on Facebook. And then you can click through and tell us exactly what it is you're seeing. This can help us, give us some signal so that we can enforce on it. Make sure you click through and submit it so that we can review it. I'm out of time, so I'm going to wrap up quickly. When you report content on Facebook, we are reviewing it around the clock. We have teams based in 6 global offices around the world, and we speak more than 40 languages. We're triaging this content that's been reported to us, and we're actioning the most serious stuff first. As I said, this is something we take really seriously. I'm really looking forward to your questions, and it's great to be here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, David. Okay, our first sub-agenda is over now, so let's move to the second sub-agenda, which is international cooperation. The first speaker is Dr. Hyung-Sung Lee, please.
Thank you for inviting me to this forum. It is my honor to be here as speaker. I'm Hyang-Sun Lee from Korea Communication Standards Commission, KCSC. Let me start my presentation with a brief introduction of KCSC. Because I have put too much information in my presentation slides for only 10-minute presentation, so please excuse me for skipping, jumping the slides or skipping some content. KCSC was established in 2008 as an independent statutory agency which governs content regulation of broadcasting program and internet communications. These are 9 categories of illegal content which are prohibited by law, prohibited circulation by law. KCSC regulates these content. This is the flowchart of our online content review process. I'll skip this. If after a review, if certain content is decided as illegal, then KCSC make decisions on the request for correction, which include removal of content, or access blockage, or suspension or cancellation of service use, and labeling as unwholesome content for youth. Basically, the recommendation for correction by KCSC are recommendation, which is not legally binding, except certain cases. Rapid changes in internet communication has brought us some drawbacks along with many benefits. Most noticeably, proliferation of illegal and harmful content that are circulated through borderless internet. As you can see from this table, the proportion of overseas illegal content out of total content for which KCSC issues correction requests has increased fast. So in 2015, the proportion is almost 75%. And 6 out of top 10 services in terms of the number of correction requests issued by KCSC are overseas service providers, including Google, Twitter, Tumblr. Thankfully, Facebook and Line are not included. Total illegal content circulated by overseas service providers increased by 13 times between 2010 and 2014. Mostly obscene content, including sex trafficking information. So obscene content increased by 17 times. Okay, regulating illegal content from overseas is very tricky. It is because there is a limitation with application of domestic law to service providers who have servers in foreign territories. So we, KCSC, makes correction requests to overseas content providers. When you do that, it is difficult to notify the providers about this decision and to implement them. Therefore, we have so far, in general, we ask we have asked domestic internet network operators, such as telecom companies, to block access to illegal content from overseas, instead of directly requesting that overseas internet service providers which host the content to remove it. So, but there's also limitations with the access blockage to illegal content from overseas through domestic network operators. Blockage access is less effective than removal the content, illegal content from the source, and it is very easy to bypass using circumvention techniques such as HTTPS, proxy servers, virtual private networks, and static routing, etc. And access blockage is not possible for encrypted traffic for technical, legal, and financial and other reasons. Currently, 20 to 35% of global internet traffic uses encrypted networks. And by the end of 2016, 30 to 50% of global internet traffic is expected to use encrypted network. Then what is the more realistic and effective solution? We don't know, but maybe we can think from a different perspective. A significant portion of illegal content from overseas circulates through the websites of global service providers. But self-regulation by overseas service providers has some limitations. They do good job, but sometimes have limitations. So we might need an agent that encourages the global service providers to more actively enforce their self-regulatory measures and provides guidance on how they can better cooperate with the domestic regulations. This could be better off for the service providers because they are increasingly facing more pressure from the market and users to come up with more effective solutions to deal with the illegal content. So maybe one of the solutions is to encourage them to include within a cooperative regulatory system. So as one of the solutions, we KCS began to operate Cooperative Self-Deliberation System, CSDS, in 2012. So when we started this system, the participant service providers were all domestic for major service providers. But the system has expanded greatly, and as of June 2016, 26 domestic operators have participated in the system, and one of the most noticeable achievement is our inclusion of global service providers, Facebook, Google, and Twitter. And Instagram and FCT2 will join soon, and I hope Line will be. Okay. Time. Maybe I need to skip. This is how the system works. We sort the items, and we provide the information of the items to ISP, and they review and take some counteractions and reply us with about the results. And if there is no reply and no action taken, then the KCSC review process starts. Besides this potential solution, I wanted to suggest a method that can, encourage more better cooperation among service providers and national regulators. But because of the time constraint, I'll finish my presentation here. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, thank you, Dr. Hyun-Sung Lee. Okay, our second speaker is Dr. Pranal Gao.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Bernard Cao, and it's an honor to be here. Now, first of all, I would like to thank Katherine Chen, the commissioner, for calling us experts. Now, actually, that reminds me of a rather satirical definition for the word expert, which says an expert is someone who knows more and more about less and less, until eventually he knows everything about nothing. Well, I hope I'm not that kind of expert. Now, Karl Popper, an English philosopher, used to say, it is impossible to speak in such a way that you cannot be misunderstood. So to avoid more misunderstandings, I'm going to make my presentations very brief and save the time for questions, comments, and discussions. Now, the digital world is a very wonderful and colorful place to visit. Now, it is not an exaggeration to say that we cannot live without it. Now, for me, I use Line, I use Facebook, Internet Explorers, and other things every day, if not every hour. So imagine how important it is. But the cyberspace is a very dangerous place, especially for children. A lot of bad things can be found on the internet. These are the things that we don't want to see on the internet, but they can be found easily, though. I believe some of you, or most of you, have found this on the internet and have seen this. Very disturbing things indeed. And among them, child sexual exploitation is most formidable. Now, international treaties and national laws have come to the conclusion that there are two types of online sexual exploitation of children, namely, first, child sexual abuse materials or child pornography, and second, child grooming. Now, they are often carried out by pedophiles. And what are pedophiles? Who are those people? Well, a pedophilia is a kind of psychiatric disorder where a man experiences sexual attraction to children. And oftentimes, no pathological manifestations can be found in these people. They look normal, but they are dangerous. Now, it is very difficult for government alone to fight against these pedophilian activities, since the internet is transnational, anonymous, and interactive. So an online safety network is necessary. So what do we do? Now, let us take a brief review. Since the Convention on the Rights of Child came into effect in 1990. Now, the international efforts, first we see the 1996, the World Congress Against the Commercial Sexual Exploitation of Children. Here we reached some conclusions about how to deal with these issues. And then in 1998, the Interpol, International Criminal Police Organizations, well, it held an expert meetings in Lyon. And in 1999, UNESCO meeting, the United Nations, also targeting on the sexual abuse of children, child pornography, and the pedophilia on the internet. And then 2001, the Second World Congress. And then we have some international organizations established, namely InHope and unsafe. And then came the 2004 Cybercrime Conventions, which is a rather comprehensive treaty to deal with all kinds of illegal activities on the internet, including online sexual exploitation of children. And then 2005, the VGT, the Virtual Global Task Force. And the next year, the Financial Coalitions Against Child Pornography. 2008, World Congress Against Sexual Exploitation of Children and Adolescents, followed by 2009 and Interpol, another General Assembly to tackle the issues. So we've seen a lot of these international efforts trying to deal with these things. In sum, we reach a conclusion that there must be a triple alliance of legislation enforcement, industry, and the NGOs. For the legislation enforcement, both substantive and procedural rules which can cope with new technologies are needed. And today it has been agreed that the law should punish producing, selling, disseminating, and possessing child sexual abuse materials, and grooming for the purpose of sexual contact. Now, I'm not going to go into details about these legal comparisons, because as a law professor, I can tell you it is extremely boring. So I'm not going to bore you, so I'll just skip it, which I believe you will all agree. Now, for the NGOs can do a lot of things, establishing hotlines, helplines, help to do the ratings, education, and also international liaison. Now, I would like to emphasize about the work of international liaison, because to deal with these illegal activities on the internet, if we have to do it by government to government, communications with government to governments, then it is going to be a very time-consuming thing, because there are lots of procedures to follow. But then we need to do it swiftly. So NGO should take the place of doing these international liaisons. We don't have these bureaucratic practices, procedures, so we can do it faster. Now, the NGOs can have connections with NGOs of other countries. For instance, APEC Taiwan, which I'm a board member, we have contacts with 60, 70 NGOs all over the world. And we can also have contacts with international NGOs, in Hope, in Safe in particular, and through these international organizations, we have contacts with the Interpol and the Europol. So we obtain useful and we exchange useful information. Now, for the industry can do a lot of things. First, and I think you will agree, donations. Please give more monies. Facebook, Line, well, you can do a lot of things because you are earning big monies. And self-regulation. You develop self-regulatory rules. Policies, turn it into legal rules. And also developing new techniques, filtering techniques, tracing techniques, photo DNAs, etc. We use new technologies to deal with these new criminal activities on the internet. And also the financial coalitions. We tried to have Visa, MasterCard, Yahoo, and other, famous, internet, companies to cooperate together so that those illegal activities, when they are doing these illegal sort of money exchanges, we can cut them off. So now here comes a question. With this triple alliance, do you think that we can eliminate child pornography and child grooming once and for all? The answer is no. On the contrary, if we take a look at the recent statistics published by some international organizations, we can see that the situation is actually getting worse. So we just have to keep fighting. Now, in 1982, the United States Supreme Court case, New York versus Ferber, there's a line. A democratic society rests for its continuance upon the healthy, well-rounded growth of young people into full maturity as citizens. Now, what does it tell us? I think the judges are trying to convey a message that child protection is not just about protecting children. It is also about preserving and improving our democracy. Bear that in mind. Thank you. That's all.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Bonagao. Okay, our last presenter speaker is Dr. Jason Ho. His focus will be on Taiwan's perspective.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jason He from National Communication Commission. In Taiwan, we are concerned about the internet governance more than about a decade. And I am proud to say that our practice on internet governance is in line with the spirit of this forum. Now I am going to introduce our expertise in my mother tongue. OK， 刚刚大家在谈的可能都是网络犯罪，或者大家刚刚高老师提到的儿童色情，但是可能在台湾有一些父母更关心的就是可能只是简单的儿少不宜，比如说前一阵子一个小孩子被杀害，然后他的可能他的一些尸体，结果被人家用不当的图片在网络上传播，这个引起社会很大家的惊慌，那很多人关切。还有比如说去年的网络霸凌等等。OK， 所以我今天来介绍的这一边大概就是这个议题。OK， 下一页。
What Dr. Gao said is about regarding child pornography or cybercrime. But what I'm going to share with you today is what we care about for the parents, about their daily life, about exposure of murdered children on the internet. Next.
Next. 台湾已经从最早在2003那个时候，我们是法律强制规定网络要用分级，这是全世界第一个用法律明白规定要将内容分级，而且直接交给那个时候对分级有经验的行政院新闻局。然后到了2004、2009，我们后来发现可能民众不断的网络的申诉非常多，所以后来我们成立了单一窗口，然后一直到了2013年，我们成立了一个 iWin。那这10年来，我大概等一下要介绍的就是这个过程。下一个页。
Here in Taiwan, as early as in 2003, the government has commissioned the GIO, Government Information Office, to classify the internet.
OK， 台湾最早在当然已经10年。那从最早的时候，我们关心我们从 keyword， 从黑名单，从过滤软体，然后一直到所谓的分级系统。那在2003的时候，我们《少法》的27条明白规定，刚刚提到的是要求我们的网际网络内容一定要做分级，然后一直到2004年的时候，我们甚至于订定了网络内容分级处理办法。那我们那个时候是用国际上的叫 APIGF 的 Platform for Internet Content Selection 的这一个系统来做的。那个时候我就是去定这一个相关分级办法的人。然后后来到了我们也成立了一个 TIQA 的组织，专门来做网络分级的一个规定。 然后2006年的时候 ，NCC 成立了，然后从新闻局将网络分级的业务移到了 NCC。
We started from the Protection of Children and Youth Welfare Rights Act, start from keywords and software screening, all the way to PIGS and TICF, GRF.
OK， 那这个是台湾第一件网络因为散布可能阿萨不已的，因为那个就是那时候的动新闻，那个时候的媒体他直接散布一些可能描述犯罪，具体描述犯罪，然后被台北市政府以他没有去做一些防范的保护的措施，台北市政府就罚他新台币100万，一共罚了2件。
This is the first case in Taipei where the city government accused the next media of a violation for a fine of more than $1 million NT dollars.
当然，这个媒体他们就提起诉愿，也提起行政诉讼，然后最后呢，这一个高等行政法院的判决蛮重要的，也是台湾行政法院第一次对网络的判决。那在这个判决里面呢，他认为是这个业者不单单只是一个 platform provider， 他本身就是一个 content provider， 所以认为他要负起编辑的相关责任。OK， 那再来呢，我们又下一页，再下一页。OK， 再来呢，不断的网络的内容开始出现了，然后后来监察也认为说，我们纯粹只是要求业者做分级可能不够，然后从行政院的国家的National Communication Security Technology， 就是我们所谓的NII 的相关的组织，然后成立了网络内容安全温组，然后要求国家通信传播委员会要成立一个单一窗口，然后来受理民众的申诉，那这个就是所谓的网络单一窗口，然后由它呢来接受民众的申诉，然后将各种申诉移到各个相关的主管机关。
Later on, the Control Yuan commissioned the Executive Yuan to set up an Information and Communication Security Technology Center, where the Information and Telecommunication Security Team has set up the so-called the cyber safety mechanism.
OK， 下一页。然后到了2012年，然后刚刚提到的，我们台湾是第一个法律明白规定网络内容要强制分级的，但是到了2012年的时候，我们的奥少法已经修正了，那个时候就不再强制我们的网络内容要用分级，然后就删除了那个规定。然后这个主要的原因也是在2010年，全世界主要在推动分级的这个 FOSS 组织啊。然后是一个网络的治理组织，他们也已经宣告，向全世界宣告，已经不再支持网络内容分级的相关的词汇了。所以说呢，台湾也就在2014年，我们将之前提到的网络分级推广基金会也给废止掉了。
In 2012, we have amended the paragraph 1 of Article 27 of Protection of Children and Youth Welfare and Rights Act. In 2014, TICRF was dismissed.
OK， 下一页。那未来怎么办？再来，然后我们就成立了 iWin 的组织。刚刚提到2010年，因为不断的有网络申诉，我们成立了单一窗口，单一的受理民众来申诉各种网络的问题。那2013年呢，我们更积极的依照阿少法的规定，然后由 NCC 去邀集了几个部会，包括教育部、文化部、卫福部以及经济部跟内政部相关部会，然后由 NCC 来召集相关单位来成立一个这样子的一个 iWin 的组织。iWin 的组织事实上有一点 follow 欧盟的iWin 的一个相关的就是网络观察的基金会这样的一个性质。
In 2013, the single Windows IWIN established that is an Institute of Watch Internet Network, where the NCC has collaborated with Ministry of Education, Ministry of Cultural Affairs, Health and Welfare, and the Interior Ministry of Interior and Economic Affairs.
OK， 然后这个 IWIN 的组织在那个儿少法的46条的相关的规定里面有7大任务，其中一个就是去做网络的观察，也就是儿童上网行为的观察，然后去受理民众的申诉，也就是说它接续了刚刚的网络单一窗口，然后当然它也还在持续做一些个分级，尤其在做过滤软体的相关的研发，然后做教育、做宣导。还有当然去督促业者做所谓的自律，那当然我们也在做所谓的跟国际的相关的合作。下一页。
There are 7 major roles for IWIN, such as to observe and study the behavior of children on the web, or receive the complaint from the general public, etc.
刚提到。下一页，刚刚提到台湾的在处理现在网际网络的内容，从最早的网络分级到单一窗口，以及现在的 IWIN， 大家都可以。我刚刚一直强调，台湾是由下而上的，所以我们可以看得到是民众对于网络内容有问题，直接跟一个民间的这个机构 ，IWIN 组织是一个民间机构，只是政府委托他来监视，他来看内容如果有问题。如果是属于违法的，就移送给相关的单位。那如果没有违法或者有一些疑义的话呢，就移给相关的 IPP 或 Content Provider， 或者是跟国外的相关组织，我们将跟他们联系，由他们去做自律的情形，然后去做执行 Notice and Take Down 的情形。这个就是现在的 IWIN 的运作的相关的机制。
As you can see, IWIN started from internet classification or rating to a single window service. This is a kind of bottom up or from the bottom to top mechanism where they will report the violation to the government agency.
这个是刚刚提到台湾一开始2010年到2013年是成立单一窗口，2013年以后就有 IWIN 接手。这几年来，大概平均每年有5-6千件。那其中到2014年突然有15000件，这个就是那时候发生的社会事件，就是太阳花事件。有发生这一些个情形，所以案件突然特别多。下一页。
Prior to 2013, we have received around 5,000 reports each year. However, after 2014 sunflower incident, the case jumped to 15,000.
当然那个IWIN 从他们受理民众抱怨的，其中有最多的比例都是。跟网络的色情，当然不一定就是纯粹跟猥亵啊，可能有一些是 indecent 的，可能只是儿少不宜的内容也都含在这个里面。
The majority of the complaint cases are internet pornography related. However, some of them are just indecent images.
Next, 这么多年来我们透过 IWIN 组织。然后要求去处理，那我们也谢谢相关的国内的一些个IPP 业者、ICP 业者，然后他们接到要求 notice 去 take down 的一个比例有将近达到那个去67.82的一个情形这个比例是蛮高的。那当然也有一些个违规的情形，那违规现在有5件被罚了台币100多万，那主要的都是可能是一些 newsletter 它没有按照规定去做保护的措施，比如说刚刚提到的可能是小灯泡事件，一个儿童的尸体，他没有去做可能 一个妥适的处理，然后造成社会的恐慌，像这一类的情形，那因为它本身就是 content provider， 所以这一类的情形当然就会被违规。所以从这里看的情形是，台湾在处理原则上是对于言论自由以及对于相关保护RSA，我们是希望再去同时兼顾。
So I would like to take this opportunity to express the government's appreciation to the ICP or IPP provider, where they have 67.82% of takedown. However, we still have 5 cases with about $1 million fine. So our goal is to balance between the freedom of speech and the children's protection.
Okay, next. 对于RSA上网的面临的问题那主要有3个。我们依照我们iWin 受理民众申诉的一个情形大概1年有那个5000多件那其中74%都是来自于境外的一个情形那这个也就是我们现在面临RSA安全上网我们要去保护所面临最大的一个问题。等一下我们的介绍有这3个问题。
So at the moment we have 3 challenges. Among the last year's complaint, we have more than 5,000 complaints where more than 50% of them came from overseas.
Next. 当然最主要的我想大家应该知道就是境外网站的调查跟它的去做一些个它的要去监察的成效是有限的。那因为网站的伺服器将他们上网的 IP 位置大部分都是位于境外那散布RSA的交易的信息大部分采用大量的 copy 相关类似的信息，然后利用国外的一个网络跳板进行 IP 的跳转然后再张贴于相关的各个留言板，那这个就造成我们在国际管辖的一个问题。
At the moment, our major challenge is our limited ability to investigate the website contents based on overseas.
Okay, next. 再来就是新兴通讯软体的加密方式成为一个治安的隐忧很抱歉，我还是要说一下，依照台湾内政部警政署曾经做过的一个统计2014年台湾利用 LINE 来犯罪件数有达到18700多件较2013年增加了55%那这边当然都是因为加密的方式处理，不过我们很高兴 LINE 已经在台湾有设分公司那最近我们两边有做一些密切的联系希望未来这一块能够有所改善。
Secondly, due to technology advancement, in 2014 we have over 18,000 criminal cases committed through LINE. With that, I'm very happy to see LINE have a branch office here in Taiwan.
对，就是说这一些个通讯软体跟智慧手机利用加密方式事实上已经成为网络犯罪的死角。我想那个刚高教授也提到这一类的问题都会造成我们在防范的时候的一个困难。然后再来就是一个境外的网络平台资料取得的不易那我们在 YouTube 啦 Google 跨国公司依照他们该公司调取他们相关的资料一般都是要司法机关去令状才能够去调取警察机关没有调取权。那因为各个国家的司法复制司法互助大概又只有比如说RSA色情或者毒品掳人勒索像这一些的犯罪大概才有可能去透过网络去取得跟向该公司去行使这个调查权大部分的情形其他的情形要去跟法院去申请令状去调取可能就比较不太可能。
As Dr. Gao mentioned earlier, that the encryption on mobile devices has made us more difficult, and our third challenge is the access to overseas internet platforms.
OK. 那最后我来介绍这几年来我的心得在这几年来 台湾曾经有去试着2013年曾经我们的制裁局曾经想要用 SOPA 用那个智慧财产权的侵权，曾经要用网络用边境管制，但是后来引起大家很大的反弹。那甚至于台湾也有人曾经提议说，是不是可以用所谓的网络实名制，但是后来在台湾也引起很大的反弹，所以这两个边境管制跟所谓的网络实名制在台湾已经被我们的网民大家都认为这个是不可行的。
So for the past few years, I consider the internet, the real name system is not feasible.
那再来就是现在大家我们从相关的机制 notice take down， 在相关的规范机制以及现在智慧财产权法以及相关的RSA法都还是认为 notice take down 是一种被告知，你被告知以后要 take down， 可是这个问题是谁来告知？还有呢，我们现在的 iWin 组织，它有没有这个公权力可以要求你 take down？ 那如果他告知错误的话，责任怎么办？这个问题也是未来还要再进一步去讨论的。
With regard to notice and take down, the issue is who to notice, and does iWin carry the judicial authority, and who is responsible for that?
再来，当然就是国际合作。刚刚高教授有提到，我们应该建立一些跟国际热线的合作。还有就是区域间的协定，是不是可以对于区域间我们来防范RSA上网安全？
As to international cooperation, as Dr. Gao mentioned, that we should establish a hotline or maybe sign some regional agreement.
最后，我认为因为技术产生的问题，我们认为可以用技术来解决，比如说亲子所。比如说，之前微软有所谓的 Hotel DNA， 或者有一些新的过滤软体或者 Parent Control 相关的软体出现。
For the technology, we probably should rely on the technology to solve it. For example, the parental control or photo DNA.
OK， 最后如果说下一页，最后我的简单的几点决议啊，我们台湾NCC。在今年，我们推出了汇流五法，其中我们有一个电子通信传播法，其中在第20条跟第18条跟到第20条提出来的一个所谓的 ISP 中立的原则。事实上，这个中立的原则上就是跟我们的网络治理论坛的2015年提出来的马尼拉中介责任方原则大概相似。
This year, NCC has proposed the Electronic Communication Act, where among Articles 18 to 20, it is aligned with the Manila principles.
再来这么多年来，台湾原则上在处理网络的监理政策，大概也是依照网络监理的几个原则，第一个就是由下而上，第二个就是大家共管，第三个就是互权，我们交予民间。希望因为网络是来自于民间形成的力量，我们是用所谓由下而上共管跟互权的精神来处理网络的问题。
Currently, we are applying 3 principles of internet policy making, such as bottom-up, co-regulation, and empowerment to private sectors.
我们最后要说是保护RSA安全跟维护网络的传输的自由应该同等重要，让我们一起努力。谢谢。
I would like to once again emphasize the equal importance of protecting the children's safety and also the right for internet propaganda. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Ho. Okay, let's go on to the stage. Okay, we got only 10 minutes left, and it's our Q&A session. According to the staff, we have equal time slot for each sub-agenda. So 3 minutes for Facebook, 3 minutes for international cooperation, and 3 minutes for Jason. Okay, any question from the floor? The first question should direct to Facebook. Okay, you first. Please identify your name and your affiliation if possible.
My name is Kai. I'm from a human rights NGO in Malaysia. This question is for David from Facebook. I'm a woman. I would like to know how Facebook justifies that a picture of me breastfeeding is a threat to your users' security. How do you justify that pictures providing information on women's sexual reproductive health is a threat to your users' safety?
Thank you for your question. So I think it's important to note that, well, first let me ask, are you speaking, did you have an experience where that content was removed from Facebook? Okay, I'd like to, let's circle up because I want to learn more about those examples. What I can say as far as our global community standards go is that we allow breastfeeding on Facebook. So that is an exception to our nudity policy. We allow those images. Now, I don't know this exact example, and you know, it's possible. There are a couple of possibilities. One possibility is that we make mistakes, and that when you operate at a scale in the billions, that means that we get millions of reports every week. It's possible that someone reported that image and one of our reviewers made an error and took it down. And when that happens and it comes to our attention, we try to move fast, we try to apologize, and we try to restore that content, which is why I want to learn more about that example. I'm not sure if this is the case in Malaysia, but there are isolated and rare circumstances where our standards are not in line with local law, and when a government makes a valid legal request that a certain piece of content violates local law, we can remove that piece of content. That does happen, and we are transparent about that. We report that biannually in our transparency report for everyone to see in the world. So I don't know exactly the circumstance, and I want to learn more about it. So let's talk afterward. Thanks for the question.
So the next question goes to the gentleman. Okay, then that gentleman. Oh, okay.
Are you Sorry, just tell me where your name, where you're coming from. Pakistan. Excellent. Yeah. Hate speech. Yeah.
Figure out that it's basically hate speech about some religious minority, particular group. So I reported the case to Facebook,
Okay.
but my request was turned down. So
Okay.
I was just trying to ask that how do you make sure that such pictorial posts and how do they do not meet your community standards, because it was clearly a hate speech. And then there are a number of organizations banned in Pakistan.
Yeah.
And they are operating with different names, running their Facebook pages. And one from Pakistan can easily identify, because they do not use their names. They use particular certain pictorial images like their flag, their slogans, and stuff like that. So anyone from Pakistan can identify this is the banned organization running a page with a different name. So how do you make sure that these organizations are not running the pages with the same, or with a different name?
Okay. Those are really awesome questions. Let me unpack that, because I think there are two issues that I'm hearing. One relates to dangerous organizations that have a presence on the platform, and the other related to hate speech. First, let me say hate speech is a really nuanced policy. It's a really hard policy. I think it's important that we have it, because it's important for us to say that certain sorts of attacks or dehumanizing language against groups of people that have protected characteristics like religion or ethnicity, are protected. I think that's important that we take that position. That being said, there are line drawing problems. So let's come back and talk about that specific example, and we can evaluate whether that was an error on our part, which, as I said, happens, or whether maybe that's one of those edge cases that doesn't violate community standards. With respect to dangerous organizations, you reported it. Okay, so so what I can say is that our reviewers it was reviewed by an Urdu speaker. That post was reviewed by an Urdu speaker, and they need to be able to tell from the context that that is actually one of those banned organizations. Now, there may be other ways for you to escalate content like that if it's not working by reporting it in product, and that's something we can touch on. Thanks.
Okay, Gotcha.
Okay, thank you. I'm Andrew from Vanuatu, from the Telecom Regulator Service. My question to David goes, I would like to know if Facebook sort of has some relation with governments in some way specifically, or does that fall into individual, on an individual basis? I'm asking this question is because we have the population of Vanuatu is just about 280,000, and we have a group that is about 30,000, a Facebook group, and a lot of discussion, and it's a discussion on anything. It's just open, and some of the languages and things used are abusive, and also a lot of confidential data has been posted online, and the government is really wanting to communicate with Facebook, but they do not know how. Maybe we will talk later, but I want to know if there's a sort of a communication channel there for governments. And we had, just an example, okay. We had our Prime Minister and the Speaker, they do not use the internet or the Facebook, but somehow in that group, someone created a profile in their names. Yeah. So, yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, sure. So we have regional public policy leads around the world, and I think the best thing would be to put you in touch with that person, and they're in touch with me and my team on a regular basis. What I'm hearing from you there are a number of the things you've touched upon do violate community standards. Impersonation is one of those things. Nasty language, maybe. Sometimes it violates, sometimes it doesn't. On a platform of our size, people are going to say offensive things sometimes, and we want to allow people to sort of express a full range of emotion. And you also mentioned private PII, private information, and that's also something that is not allowed on Facebook. You can't share someone's private information, and there are ways to remove that as well. Yeah. I mean, we and as you know, we have a real name policy, and so a fake profile like that ought to violate. Did you report any of this content, or do you know if any colleagues reported any of this content?
Not corporately, but I'm not sure about individually as well. And we are not really sure about the reporting system, whether the action will be taken based on that report, or the report will be anonymous, or yeah.
Yeah. So all reporting is anonymous, and oftentimes the quickest way to get violating content off the platform is to report that content in product. So, and every piece of content on Facebook, doesn't matter if it's media, like an image, a video, a live video, text, all of that can be reported. And we should action that sometimes within a couple of hours. And every time you report a piece of content, you will receive a message in what we call your support inbox. So you'll get a little red jewel notification on Facebook saying thank you for reporting that piece of content. And then when we make a decision as to whether or not that violates, you'll get a response. So we try to be transparent and communicate with our community because we really rely upon you all to identify violating content. We like to think of our system as the world's largest neighborhood watch organization because we really depend on you all in many ways to identify and report violating content.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, I'm Jerry. I'm from Taiwan, from the APIGF group, and I used to manage, or it will be most of copyright issues. So I used to run a little Facebook group that we discuss about games, and there's often people who came in and they'll just post like pirated game copies and like links to those pirated games all around the place. When we try to report it, Facebook just prompt me that if I want to report that like copyright content, I need to be the copyright holder. However, that's not even possible. We are not like those big game companies. So we could just only delete those posts like one by one in our group. So is there any way like that could be resolved? Like if there are publicly available content, paid content, we can report it without actually being the copyright holder.
So I think it's a great question. There is another team that is really expert on copyright issues. Is actually not my team, but to my knowledge, I think that's right. I think you do need to be the copyright holder to report that stuff. Can I ask, was this a secret group or a closed group, or was it an open group?
It was an open group, but
Okay.
this also happened for non-open groups.
Sure. I mean, if it was an open group, I think that is fair game. I mean, I think we may have technologies in place that the IP team could speak to more closely that will be able to detect this sort of stuff. Certainly in open groups, but I think you did the right thing by deleting those individual pieces of content.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Lassine. I'm from the YEGF group. I'm from Burkina Faso, and I'm studying here in Tamkang. All right, Burkina Faso is a country in Africa, and I've grew up in France. I've been in France for 12 years, and I've seen, like, during the terrorist attack in Paris, I've seen that Facebook have some notification just about the security, like telling me that my friends around are really safe and everything. And I've noticed that every time like there is a terrorist attack in countries like France or USA, Facebook just give me a notification. But I've also noticed that when there is some terrorist attack in Africa, for example, in my birth country, in Burkina Faso, during the French attack, at the same time, they had a terrorist attack in my birth country. But Facebook didn't notice everything. They didn't say anything. So I would like to know, the security concern of Facebook is just a right or a privilege?
It's a great question.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks for asking. So what you're talking about is a feature called Safety Check. And again, this isn't something I work on directly. I do want to say that within the company, this issue that you've raised of where we operate Safety Check and when is something we're thinking a lot about. And I think we also put a lot of emphasis on something called unconscious biases. It's something that affects all of us, and we want to, as a global platform, we want to make sure that isn't affecting how we use Safety Check. So this kind of feedback that you're giving is really valuable. It's really important. It's actually something that we are thinking about. I think in general, safety check is a relatively new feature, and so we're still working out exactly the standards around when we would activate it. So this is, super valuable feedback, and I appreciate it. So thank you.
Okay, as a moderator, I have to say that the time is really running out, and very sorry. So I have to conclude the session, and I want to thank to all the presenters and audience for great questions. Okay, thank you.